Well, it's just me. We're waiting for Casey. Connection, something happened. But hi, happy Friday. She said it kicked her out. That's fun. Technology people, sometimes this happens. We're gonna wait just a little bit. Oh. Ah, hello, welcome back. I told everyone happy Friday, and then it was just me.
Yeah, my internet went out at just exactly the wrong time, of course.
Happy
Friday.
Happy Friday again.
Glorious. I love it. So let's see here.
Are you using your hotspot?
No. But yeah, so today is just live Q&A. And we are going to be answering whatever questions are thrown our way on the spot. And so throw them at us. Whoever's watching right now, we have Roger Rhodes, Chris Lloyd. Hi guys. Hope you both are doing well. We do have a couple of questions that were submitted in advance, so we can go over those until we have some others to work with, or some more people watching. So we can talk about some of the most frequently asked questions, and some of the most kind of not frequently asked questions, but are just great questions in general. So some things maybe that we've run into here recently that our clients were trying to do or had questions about. So I think we've talked about this maybe a little bit on a different Friday, but I just had another client text yesterday and say that she had tried to post something in a Facebook group about their company. They do promotional products, and their company is selling like branded face masks. Cool. And she tried to post that in a group. Oh, hi Laura, happy Friday. And she tried to post that in a group, and she screenshotted that it was denied, that her post was denied because it went against Facebook's terms of use. So that's something we've definitely been dealing with the past few months, especially with our client that's in the makeup and skincare realm of the world. They pivoted to, I know, cringe at the word pivot, but pivoted to doing hand sanitizer. Facebook, pretty quick after the whole COVID thing happened, and everything started to shut down, there was a bunch of price gouging and just really poor business being done through advertising and through social media. So Facebook immediately threw up kind of a temporary policy that they would not allow face masks, hand sanitizer, disinfectant spray, and a few different terms were completely banned, and things that were banned from advertising and stuff like that. So that's been an interesting one, and something that's been just really relevant here lately. So I wanted to answer that for her. And so I think that's kind of fascinating, and I don't know if that's something that's going to continue, if they're going to keep that policy, or if they will ever allow those kinds of sales and ads again. But I've seen some companies skirt around it. We definitely have seen that as well. Oh, Chance is watching. Hi, Chance. So some companies, I told her, I was like, if you want to, you can go for it, and you can At your own risk, I will not advise you to do this, but I will say that other companies have gotten away with doing ads and posts and things for face masks because they're not saying the word mask. They're calling them face coverings. Aha. There's always a way around it, but you do risk getting your page reprimanded, shut down.
Right. Not even the post, like the page itself. And I think a lot of people think like, oh, it'll just be the post is taken down. But no, your whole page, your whole account.
Yeah. So, that's why we opted for not doing, not trying to kind of skirt around those. And like, we like to follow the rules around here. So, so we decided that it wasn't worth it, that we could focus on with this other client, especially like we could focus on so many other products and things, and keep that presence on social media and not get put in timeout, because that's never fun. No. Another, let's see if anyone else, just throw your questions in the comments if you have any questions about anything marketing. Kira, I know you were saying that you've gotten some here recently, from Austin, actually. So do you want to share what one of his questions was?
One of his was about off the top of my head. One of the main ones was about whether some companies should do a like subscription service versus like paid ads throughout, and he was asking just about the difference between like paid ads versus like click-through ads or like the side screen of Google ads. So if you want to just give a quick little rendition of ads on social media.
Yeah. Okay. So paid advertising on social. There are a few ways you can go about it. I think everyone mistakes, first of all, like the idea of boosting as advertising. Mm-hmm. It's a kind of a form of advertising, but with advertising, especially on Facebook, which then you have the ability to advertise on all of the platforms that they own too, which is not just Instagram. You have WhatsApp, and you have their also their network, and your ads can go a heap of different places. So paid advertising, it's really, really effective. It's not like traditional advertising and print advertising that can be quite pricey. It is much more affordable. It's generally more effective when you retarget. So retargeting is a huge part of it. So it's one of my favorite things about paid ads is when companies, especially product-based or retail, if you have an e-commerce side to your business, installing Facebook Pixel, and then that tracks your website visitors, and then you can retarget people. It's like when you go on Amazon, or let's say like TJ Maxx website or something, or Michael's, and you search for something and you put it in your cart, or you click through on a couple of things and you keep going back to that item, and then you jump over to one of your social channels, and all of a sudden that ad is in front of your face. That's retargeting. Like it automatically, that system automatically puts that product that you were just looking at into your newsfeed, and it changes. It's dynamic. It changes for everyone who's looking at it. So advertising is, it's a beast. Facebook versus Google ads versus, like, each one of those could be an entire day's worth of information. But it just depends. We recently also had a local counseling center reach out, and we'll be working with them here soon. But they were asking about doing Google AdWords, and Google Ads, for something that's a more saturated market, your price point for your ad spend is going to be really high. Even higher depending on how saturated your market is. So it takes a big budget to compete on that. And there are so many other like long-term strategies that are so much more cost effective to consider instead. So it's, you know, it's a tricky one. Paid ads are always tricky because it's very particular to every platform, every audience, every company. There's no blanket statement that works for any.
Yeah.
So that's my long-winded talking in circles about ads. That probably made no sense at all. But let's see. Another question we had here recently was about Instagram. So did an Instagram workshop on Monday, and we had some really great questions in there. And there were a couple of questions in there about stories. So it was all about Instagram stories and using them to kind of build your brand awareness and grow your following. And one of the questions was, you know, well, like, how do you even know that's working and that's where your new followers are coming from? So you actually have those stats available to you. You can look at it through 3 different methods. So if you are doing Instagram stories, I highly recommend that you either I would look through Creator Studio. That's where I prefer to check out those stats. It's a little bit easier to look at through the desktop version. But Creator Studio gives you a lot of insights. So you can pull up that individual Instagram post. You can see how many follows came from the hashtags that you used on that story. You can see how many follows came from just search. You can see, so from mentions, all of that. You get all of that information, and that's how you know if stories are working for you or not.
Yeah, I love even looking just at the individual story itself. If you're on the app, you can easily, you go under your stories and like you're watching your own, you swipe up or tap the little insights button. And it's great because on the fly, let's say like you're testing out to see if your video is resonating really well during the moment, or like the other day for a client, I had put several different individual things up for a sale, and I wanted to see how many stories was too many stories for our personal audience. And what's great is that under it you can see, you know, how many people are watching, how many people have exited out of stories, how many people have clicked next, how many people have clicked back, and et cetera and et cetera. So it's a great way to see like what's resonating. If you have a video, maybe like, was it long enough time for someone, or like if you have a story, how much information do they have to go back and like hold down, like reread the information. But that's a great way on the fly to look at your stories.
Yeah, when you're talking about timing too, that was another question that popped up in the workshop was if you're doing a story, how much time is allotted to your story? If you're doing a video, it's 15 seconds. And I mean, really 15 seconds is probably a bit too long for some stories, for some purposes. The statistics show us that generally the best performing video stories in particular are about 2.8 seconds. If you haven't captured someone's attention by that point, you're not going to, and they're going to click through. So you have to just like come right out the gate in your story and get straight to the point. Don't get and go, oh, hi guys. You know, like I know we do this on our Fridays of like, happy Friday. You know, we kind of have a routine with it, but and that's fine for a particular kind of like series or episodic content or, you know, some other kind of platform. But for stories, it needs to be quick and punchy and fun and engaging right from the get-go.
Yeah, and making sure that it's clear to see as well. If you put any information, any text, make sure that it's large enough, it's legible enough. On your GIFs, think about your audience, think about what kind of GIFs they would like to see, as well as for ours, I try and really stick with one of our clients. I try and make sure that all of the GIFs aren't too fast moving. they're legible, they're not too crazy of colors. So even with those, you got to put a little bit of thought into, not anything too crazy, but just think like, oh, is this gonna, if I'm watching this, is this gonna hurt my eyes? Is it too distracting from the text? That sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, it needs to be along with your kind of social media brand presence, and make sure that it flows. And it's not too much of a distraction. So all of those little gifts and stickers and things that you can put on your stories are
So
great.
fun, but very distracting.
So fun, but they can be a real distraction.
Exactly.
And it takes away from kind of the meat of what you're trying to share with the world. So you gotta, there's kind of a fine line there to use those effectively. So yeah, so that's that for Instagram stories, I think. Oh, whoa, got a yawn over there. Hey, wake up.
Another one that I received recently is how important is it to have branded highlight reels?
I mean, I think it's really important, but
I think it is. If you're a business page, I think it's important. If you don't have the time or resources to create icons for them, at least make them your color palette. Try and change it up a little bit if you can. If you truly don't have the funds to have them branded, Canva can be helpful. They have now a template for highlight reels, and you can easily go under elements. Try and make sure that the elements kind of match and flow. That can only be the, like, you know, for instance, if you're a real estate agent and you have a house as one of your elements and it's like drawn in, you then don't go to like a hand that's like a full-on picture of a hand. Kind of make sure they match and right a little bit.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely important. So highlight reel bubbles, I think branding those is really important. It's just a part of your overall presence. It's one of those little cues psychologically to your audience that makes them feel like this is a legitimate organization that I'm following. They are credible and trustworthy and probably an authority in their space. So it's just all those little messages that add up to really break that barrier down with your audience and like make them want to follow and trust you and do business with you. It seems a little silly maybe at first to think of it that way, but it really does make a difference. I can attest to this just straight from like in my freelancing days. And my branding with all of that, when the business name was different and all of that, it was fine in that realm. It was cool, but like it would never work in the space that we live and work in now of, growing this team and having this little micro agency vibe going on and that kind of thing. When I rebranded a few years ago, like 3 years ago, when I rebranded to create Captivate and just changed the front facing stuff to the customers or the clients, everything changed. People, because I put out a more serious brand, I've been taken more seriously. It really does make a difference. I will go on a soapbox about that all day if you let me. So Instagram highlight reel bubbles matter. That's the moral story.
It's important. We are constantly, telling you guys how important it is to be branded in all aspects of your company. And that includes social media down to the very small little stud.
Yep. Yeah, and if you ever need just another set of eyes on it, we love picking things apart like that. We'll do an audit, yeah, and then kind of rebrand and optimize too. So we do that quite often. It's one of kind of our entry level offerings that people tend to get with us before we start, the full on like social media management and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of times within the optimization, we get asked, how important it is to edit some of the profile or the headers. And, because they're like, oh, we already have our logo in it. It is so important to make sure that your profile picture has enough white or whatever color the background is space around the profile picture. I cannot stress this enough. Please do not cut off part of your logo image. And make your header image something more dynamic instead of just the logo. Make it, if you're a beach company, maybe put the beach. If you are a realtor, do something with houses. If you don't have branded photos of yourself and your team.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was kind of a wide array, but if you have any other questions, go ahead and throw them here in the comments and we'll jump in and get those answered. But we get such a wide variety of different types of businesses and industries and also levels of experience with all of this. So no question is too big or too small. If you'd rather ask your question privately, throw us a message to our page and we will answer it there and then maybe use it for use it for another Fri YAY topic. So if there's no other questions or anything else, then I think we'll jump off here because I know we both have a lot of work to do and we both want to get started on this holiday weekend too. So so thanks for tuning in, everybody. I love a good Q&A session. Let us know. Just give us a heart on this video if you want to see more of Q&A sessions a little more often. We'll gladly throw them into the mix a little more frequently if that's something that you enjoy and just kind of the sporadic nature of it. More than happy to give you exactly what you want. Kara, you're so agreeable. That's one of the many characteristics I love about you.
Thanks.
All right, so enough that. We're gonna go. Be safe. Have fun this weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
And hold on.